Hi, world. Welcome to Children Daughters Podcast, where we discuss our unique journey as Christian women and all things Jesus. I'm Ashley. I am a wife, a mother of four, one of those being a set of triplets. I am an overcomer. I am somebody that has a heart for women, and I want to see the captives set free. I want to see people living in freedom and do what God has called them to do. I have actually one of my closest friends, Alicia. She is a servant leader, a mother, a lover of all mankind. She values authentic connections and walks in vulnerability. Her deepest desires are to steward all God has entrusted her with and glorify Jesus with her surrender life. And then I have Miss Beautiful Lisa. She's a voiceover artist. Look at her in her voiceover studio. And the owner of Vocally Yours. She is also Chief Encouragement Officer for the Voice of Purpose. She has a passion for encouraging and empowering other women who love Jesus to step obediently into God's call and purpose for their lives. So today we are talking about Sisterhood Chronicles, real stories of long friendships and faith bonds. Guys, tell me, what do you guys look for in a friend? What are the attributes that you would say, this is my friend?
You said Chronicles, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna give you a little bit of progression.
Okay.
I think, I think originally it wasn't really hard for me to be friends with people. So anyone who was just drew closer, they would make initiative. I would make initiative. I get along with most people. I don't think I really had any boundaries or any expectations. And I'm talking about high school, junior high. If you called me your best friend, then hey, we're best friends because you called me that, and that's what we are. And then someone, I think that for a very long time, I walked in a place of authenticity and truth. And so I would just share my stuff with people and I would just feel close. And eventually I learned you probably shouldn't share everything with everybody. One, not everyone cares. And two, it's not really healthy for your soul just to be out there. And then later in my season, I feel like I have a lot of friends, and I most of those are my friends due to like time,
Mm-hmm.
just a habit, time, personal experiences that we shared and endured and overcome. Those kind of things have bonded us. But in this new season where I'm at, it's funny because I was like, Lord, I don't really need friends. I have healthy relationships. They're like compartmentalized almost, but I have plenty. You only need one or two really to really walk with. But I feel like I have two handfuls at least of good, solid girlfriends. But in this season, I believe what defines a friend is someone who where I can completely be seen, someone who will encourage me and I can encourage them. But really, I'm looking for purpose partners in a sense. I want to draw to who God I feel has put in my life. So I guess a friend connection for me would be a God connection. So those attributes would be like, I don't know, we're connected on a supernatural level. We sharpen each other. It's a safe place where I can be fully human and fully walk in the spiritual gifting God has given me. And someone who knows the real story, whole story, a witness. That's what a friend is to me. To sum it down, it is a God connection, a divine connection.
Yeah, I think for a very long time, I was just friends with anybody who wanted to be a friend. And honestly, for a long time, probably until, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago, I felt maybe I wasn't worthy of friendship. And so if somebody reached out to me, then I soaked it up. I wanted to just tell them everything, share everything, hear everything. And I realized that I was looking for something in those friendships that only Jesus provides, filling up those soul longings, those things that God created us with, that were meant to drive us to him. I was looking for that kind of fulfillment in my friend group. And so I learned about boundaries. I didn't know those existed before. And now I would say I have some friends who don't share my beliefs, but we share other things that bond us in a way. But most of my friends, most of the people that I would call true friends are ones, Alicia, like you said, that are God connections. People who love Jesus, who will hold me accountable, who encourage me in my faith walk, who listen if the Holy Spirit wants to speak through me, where I feel seen and heard and cared for, and where I can do the same for them, because I don't think everybody's ready to receive those things. But I heard someone once said, and I don't think it was her quote, and I can't tell you, I'm going to probably mess up the quote, but that a true friend is someone who can sing your song when you have forgotten the notes. So those times when life is hard and you think, I don't even know who I am right now, that there's someone who knows who you are, knows the notes of your song, and just reminds you and helps you get back on the path. So
That's real good.
Real good.
I wish that was my quote.
I'm opposite. I was not the girl that everybody's my friends. I was more like, we cool, but we just know each other. I think you had to, I don't know the word, but you would just be people that I would be talk to so sometimes. But I think to qualify somebody's my friend, I have to feel like there's some type of trust there. There's some type of like I can go to you when I feel like I'm about to bottom out. I need a real friend. I think that's when I would categorize you as a friend. I think everybody else was just like people I knew, or as they would say, this is my associate. They were I'm not calling you all the time. I think that people that I thought of as friends, like they had to have some type of trust with me. And I think that's what I look for a lot in friends. Like I have to be able to trust you. I think as I'm growing, I need that God thing. Because if we don't, I feel like where my life is centered. So it would be hard for us to be real good friends. I don't know if you don't understand me, because that's who I am. I'm not saying that you have to be as like this holy roller or something, but you have to love the Lord. You have to know the Lord or something, so that you can understand me. Because you won't be able to understand me. Like I categorize myself as weird. Like you won't be able to understand like my weird behavior if you don't know the Lord. So, anyways, that's my thing.
I feel like, Ashley, like I also need real friends to tell me when my stuff stink. I don't need yes people. I don't need cheerleaders. I don't need fans who like the gifting. I'm going to love you. So you're going to receive from me. I'm going to pour out whatever I have, whatever you can take. I'm going to give myself to you. But I'm at a place now where I think it is important to desire it back. I think I've just been comfortable of giving. And I know that my good girlfriends, I don't talk to them every day, but when I call them, they're there. But even as I grow, I think it's so important just to have someone walking with you on almost a daily basis, or be intentional to catch up. So I can say I'm intentional to always catch up with people I consider friends. And what I mean by friends is I cannot talk to you in 9 months. We can call and we don't miss a beat. I will update you on all the areas of my life, the highs, the lows, the in between. But I don't think we're meant to do this walk alone. I believe that Jesus wants us all to have a Jonathan, so to say, a friendship that's deeper than blood, that's bonded, that's connected. Yeah, and a lot of times you women, you may have it in your spouse at times, or may not, but yeah, it's nothing like a good girlfriend. Yeah, that's that.
So you say that you want people to be like, you want to be honest with people and tell them, but can you take it if somebody telling you,
Yeah,
and can you
so
do the opposite?
yeah, so right now I'm gonna ask y'all. This is a test, so
Uh-oh.
we're gonna be honest, right? What's wrong with my face?
What's wrong with your face?
I don't think nothing's wrong with your face. You mean slender? What do you mean?
It can always be slender. I can get a little collarbone popping out, but no.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind
right.
that either.
What I
I
mean
me
is,
too.
so let me just tell you. So I was getting ready today, and my eyelash fell off. This eye.
Girl, I can't even see your eyelash with your glasses.
Well, okay, good. Somebody on the World Wide Web is gonna see it and tear it apart. Like, girl, she got on one eyelash, but my eyelash fell off.
Now I
Lord.
can see it when you close
Okay,
your
well,
eye because you
I
said
really.
something.
I bring attention to myself. Whatever. I want to bring it out for someone else. Bring it out. I said, well, Lord, what am I gonna do? Do I pull the one that's fully on there off and lose everything? I don't know how to put another one on, and I'm running out of time. What do I do? I'm like, what do I do? And after just worrying and thinking, I just kept trying to get ready. I'm like, I'm just gonna show up, and I'm gonna show up and just be me and just show up, and that's what I did. And we're talking about friends, but if you all would have noticed, I wouldn't want my friend to just leave me out here one eyelash. Give me a shoulder. Text me, girl, did you know? That's what a friend do. I'm paying attention to the things you might not have known. Now, clearly, I should know that my eyelash is off, and this is a testament that it's not about me. It's about you, Lord. You got me out here, one eyelash, and I pray that someone's blessed. But I don't know.
You want somebody that tells you when you have spinach in your teeth.
Spinach in my teeth, booger up my nose, nasty attitude.
I said, how about when you're not acting right? How about like
when I'm out of line?
Going this way?
Get me together. Yes. Get me
Yeah.
together. Because you
My
love me.
sister is my sister is that friend for me. She and I both have a tendency to have conversations in our head about, oh, this situation, and I would say X, and back and forth in our minds about a conversation, and or maybe project something into a situation that we perceive it's a certain way, but it hasn't really come out to be that way. I don't know if that makes sense, but she'll say to me, is that a real conversation, or did you make it up in your head? Is that imaginary? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess I'm just continuing a feeling that I had, a frustration, continuing it on in my head instead of addressing it with whoever it was in the beginning. And so I have these imaginary conversations that, no, they didn't really say that. I might believe that's how they feel, but she definitely brings me back, and she'll say things like, you don't need to worry about your reputation because God's going to protect that. Or stop worrying so much about what people think. You are the daughter of the King of Kings. Jesus loves you just as you are, so you don't have to worry about that. So I think, yes, maybe not all of our friends are like that, but I think we need to have at least one.
So, Miss
who
Lisa,
can do that.
Do you believe your sister when she tells you those truths? Do you trust her more than you can sometimes trust yourself, knowing that people are fickle?
Yeah.
We are fickle. We need
Yeah.
somebody in our life that we can trust more than we trust ourselves at times. Because if I'm alone with these thoughts all the time,
that's going to be a problem. Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons that God wants us to have friends, because when you're in isolation, like the things that can go through your mind, you like start to doubt yourself, start to, I'm not good enough, I'm not great. But you need that friend that that speaks into you, that tells you the truth. Girl, you know you're going the wrong direction. You know that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
that one of the reasons that probably God wants us to be in community, have friends that not only just that are of him, because when they are of him, they like speaking to you through God lens. They see what God put in you. And so I think those are what we need. Tell me a time in your friendships that you've had stress in the friendships and how you overcame it. What, like when you had these lifelong friends or these faith bonds and you hit a bump at the road, were you able to overcome it, or did you figure out a way to keep going?
I can tell you, my sister and I actually went through a difficult time before we really learned how to communicate well. It was a passive aggressive kind of communication, and I would be feeling like, oh, she's not spending enough time with me because she's got her other friends. And she would be feeling like, oh, she's so clingy. Why is she always wanting to be where I am? But we weren't communicating that with each other. And there would be just things that would build and build. And we got to a place, the Lord brought us to that place where we realized we have to be honest with each other. We have to communicate directly. None of this passive, oh, I'm going to say this thing and hope that she picks up on it because that's what should happen. She should pick up on it and then she should make the next move. No, that is just ridiculous. So we have learned how to communicate directly. And sometimes we'll say, are you upset with me? And there is still that shock of, yes, I am upset with you. And you're, oh, but you realize, okay, let's address that. Why are you upset with me? What did I say? Should I have said it differently? And don't know if it's different because we're sisters, but we could have just continued being sisters and not really been friends. But it took a lot of work. And we are at a place where we can be just completely honest with each other. And sometimes you hold back a little. If there's some little thing that irritates you, you think, okay, do I need to bring this up now? Or can I let that go for a little bit and see, is it me that's really the problem? Am I taking offense at something because of something going on in my own life? Or is it something I need to address? And a lot of times it's something going on in my own life that I don't need to bring it up. But it takes practice, I think, and just a willingness to be honest and to yourself out there, be a little bit vulnerable.
Yes, good. I love when you said we're sisters, but do we have to be, that didn't mean we had to be friends. It's a
Mm-hmm.
difference. I have a few stories, but one I'll share is very good. What I consider a close girlfriend of mine. This is maybe 15 years ago. She was telling me like, "You're my best friend," and we were close. We spent a lot of time together. We talked all the time, but I don't know exactly where I was in my life spiritually at that point. She gave me that title. Like in the past, someone gave me the title. What was that title? And I was just like, we're really good friends. And maybe I'm your best friend, but you're not my best friend. And I had this conversation with her and it broke her for a little bit, but broke her to the place to really look at herself. And she still brings up this story to this day. If you're watching, hey, I'm talking about us. But yeah, and she said it just really allowed her to value herself and look at how she was showing up because yes, doing something for her, but if I looked at it from my point of view, it wasn't necessarily the same value or I wasn't getting the same thing. Now we all need different things, so I'm not expecting people to be me, but whatever it was I was needing, even if it's just a listening ear, I wasn't really getting it at that time. And so we've grown from that. We're actually way past that. She's very intentional. She's a very thoughtful, considerate, loving, faithful friend who I adore. We're not best friends, so the title, she's given that title and has that title with someone else. But I don't feel like I ever needed really like a title also. I love you type of thing. But so that was a situation. So it was just me being honest, saying something that was disappointing that birthed something even more authentic and deeper and allowed me to be in a position where I can actually get what I need, or at least more of it as she's growing and we're both growing.
Do you think that statement like forever ruined the friendship? Like the statement that I'm your best friend, but you're not mine. Do you think it will
No,
never be the
I
same?
asked her that. I think we're closer than ever. I don't know if she'll ever be vulnerable enough again, or if she feels like it could be secretly or privately, oh, I won't do that again. Like I'll grow, but I won't ever acknowledge you. You're gonna have to call me your best friend. Like I ain't go it might be one of those type of things where she wouldn't put herself out there like that, or I don't know. But I don't think it ruined us. I think whatever we had then is even greater now from my perspective. When I was younger, I had a friend. We were best friends, and I never really got to reconcile with her. I've forgiven her. We've even had casual talks, and we're talking about what, seventh, eighth grade. She was my best friend, and she betrayed me so bad. I'm really high on respect so much. It was like, oh, we got to fight. And so we went to go fight. I went to go fight her. And the relationship never restored after that. There was never, now as we're grown and we I see her on the internet or hear something about her, I'm proud of her. She's growing in so many ways. I'm actually learning more about her trauma and her experiences. And I had trauma and experiences. And it was like, okay, there probably was a connection there, but we were so broken and we didn't have skills or even mental issues and just adolescence trying to figure out this thing called life, that we never had the tools to really reconnect at all. So I don't know. I think when you're walking with the Lord, there are some times where you got to sometimes go back to go forward. Maybe in your future, I can go celebrate her, tell her proud I am of her. And I don't know if we'll ever be friends, but just restore some honor and some common respect, healing. I'm healed. Be intentional to give even more than just, we never talked about that. Never been a conversation.
I feel that my faith walk, like over the years, I'm like, I think when I was well, I first found the Lord, I really asked for friends because I was like younger and people were everybody is hanging with everybody. It's just I've gotten older and then my circumstances changed, like, wife and I have kids and it's such, especially when I have little kids. And so I'm like, huh, it's a few faithful friends. I'm just by myself, but I do a lot of mothering. So I find myself in these years, okay, Lord, I'm supposed to have more friends. So I wonder, like, you guys in your faith walk, have you asked for friends or are you just like being content where you're at?
Accent now. I think it's levels to this. Like friends is a general term, and I've kind of identified like what I'm looking for and what I'm needing. And I have about two good people, you being one of them, that I think is just right about there. But I think it needs to be mutual. And I think it needs to be intentional. Both parties, need to know like you're my person. And if that's not happening, then it's not the full effect. I'm really yearning, not necessarily for a friend, but I know the value of being fully seen, fully known, of walking and doing life. And especially when you're saying yes and you're moving with the Lord, like I've seen it, I believe it. I don't need no click, no cliche. I don't want any of that. But yes, so I am praying for it. And even if it's right in front of me, just to be clear about it and to walk in it. So yeah, girl. Might be hollering at you, Ashley. Come on, let's go into this covenant. Because it becomes a covenant. It's like a real life partnership. Like you're bonded to fulfill the purpose and the call of the Lord. And yeah.
Can I tell the world how we came to be?
Sure.
Okay. We used to go to the same church a long time ago. And me and another girl, we were like starting this group. And we were in the same, what we call like a care group. So I would see her on Sunday afternoons, I think it was, here and there. But we weren't like friends. We just saw each other every Sunday afternoon. So me and another girl, we were starting this group, like getting together at our house. And so she was like, invite some people. And I was like, who do I know that's so Alicia came to my mind. So I was like, hey, we starting this group. You should come. And she was like, okay, we blah blah. In my mind, I was like, she's not coming. Yo, she showed up. She showed up. And then in that group, it was like 5 or 6 of us. Something. So we started doing life together. We started knowing each other, becoming closer. And then shortly after, I ended up leaving the church and went on some different type of thing. And I also invited her to that. And I think the first time I went, I think I told her one time and then I didn't follow up. I came back, she was like, yo, what's happening? You different. And she was like, why you didn't remind me? And so she went to the next one with me. And then we just started this like Jesus thing. We would be going to like these Jesus conferences going around the place, and we became like real friends. And it wasn't all about Jesus. We would talk about life, what was going on in our personal lives. Day when we went to a school, and a lady prophesied over us. Do you guys know each other? We're like, yeah. And she prophesied over us, and she said that connected in the spirit, and we should always pray for each other and uplift each other and stuff like that. She's seen my lowest. I've seen her lowest. We've been going through and coming out on the other end, I think, of all the crazy things that happen to us in our lives, all the tragedies, the bad things, and we're coming out on the other side. And so we're trying to be like, okay, where do we go from here? Like, what's our next step? Like, where do we think God has for us next? What is it? She knows that I have a little trust issues. The thing about Alicia is she's like, other people would tell me, and I'd be like, hush your mouth. But then she would say something that would hit my heart. And for days, I would be like, because I'm like, she's right. Like, oh, I feel like we have that where we could just be like, listen, you ain't right. This is what it is. And I'm like, oh, you're right. Somebody else could have told me the same thing, the exact same words, and I'll just be like, okay. But then she says it, somehow it touches my heart, and I'm like, and for days, I'm like, okay, I got to do something. Anyways, so she is one of the people that I feel like we have a faith bond. And yeah, it's for us what it looked like. Am I wrong? Or
no,
it's what it's looking like.
Again, I don't do titles or anything. I don't know, but in my kids' eyes, they watch and they observe. Oh, you talk to your best friend? That's your best friend? I'm like, I don't have a best friend. Oh, that's bestie. So we definitely have a connection. So that's my girl. But there's levels to this.
Yes.
I think we're going to deeper and more levels. And I think that what I was saying is being on one accord with what the Holy Spirit is doing, being surrendered to it and buying into it. And so it's like naturally happened, putting some prayer behind it, being intentional and stewarding the gift that God has given us in good partnership and friendships is very important. I feel like the Lord even wants me to have that in my local current church home, because this is the body that he's called me into. I didn't feel like I need it, but the more I obey and I move into it, he's like, no, It needs to be somebody where you're planted that knows you. And I just can't stand surface. I do it very well, but ultimately, do you really know me? And you don't know people until you walk with people, you live with people, you cry with people, you pray with people, you show up for people. So I'm looking forward to what God has in my current church home. So,
Lisa, do you have that sort of faith bond with someone? Or
Yeah, I was beginning to wonder if there would be other people besides my sister that I would have that kind of relationship with. And there are 2 or 3 women in my current church that we have begun developing those bonds. And it's just really been within the last few months. And it was 2 or 3 weeks ago on a Sunday that one of them shared something, and there were 3 of us, and we stopped right there. We prayed and could just feel God at work, that he had brought us together so that we could lift one another up. We could, and we've experienced some similar things in life, which is helpful, but not always necessary. And I don't know, I just really been appreciative that God saw my heart. I don't know that I asked for a friend other than my sister, because I don't know that I didn't that I felt like I needed somebody besides her, but she has a family. She's married, she has a husband, she has kids, and she has other friends besides me, and I have other friends as well, but not that deep. And so I wondered if God would bring someone into my life that would be like that, and it feels like that's what he's doing with this group of women, and I'm just so appreciative of that.
the seeds of faith bonds,
That's right.
may they keep growing and
Mhm,
blossom.
mhm. Means we have to keep the soil of our hearts fertile
that's true.
and prepared.
So, as we start to close out, is there anything that you want to tell people to encourage people about friendships, about faith bonds?
I think just to say that we them. Ashley, I think it was you that said early on, we were not designed to live life alone in isolation, or it might have been you, Alicia, that said that. But we're not, God didn't create us to live in a bubble by ourselves. And so we need those friends, but we also need to be, I think, prayerful about who do we share with? Who do we trust? Who do we trust to point us to Jesus? Are they going to do it in a way that is true? Are they going to do it biblically? Yeah, I think we need to pray for discernment as to who is going to be the right person.
Yeah. I would say humble yourself,
Mhm.
because I think it was pride in me, hidden pride, like not that really made me feel like I don't need nobody. I really thought I was good, but it's like, how dare you say you don't need anyone? Are you going to really be grafted into this place if you don't connect with someone? Like, people heal people too. And so I think that it's important for us to be courageous to do the work individually, even before the friends, the partnerships come. I won't say that it can't happen simultaneously, because it does. But if you're in a season right now where you don't have that and you desire it, I would just say show up and do the work of your heart, you know, so that you can be able to receive and also give, because what we're talking about is not someone just to be around when you're bored or because you're lonely. Someone who is literally going to push, carry, weight, is going to be a vital necessity, feel the purpose and call that God has for your individual life. That's what I would say. Start preparing, being open, check for pride, do the work, be in great expectation.
You guys pretty much summed it up. Ask God for who is supposed to be in your life, and then walk into that. As my friend Alicia would say, I need to be more vulnerable. Be vulnerable with your friends. Like, show them who you are. Just enjoy life with them. Help them walk into the purpose, and you vice versa. So yeah, that's our episode for today, guys. I just want to tell you guys thanks for joining us. Make sure you comment and subscribe and like. Next time. Peace.
Don't come for my eyelash. I already know. I'm just saying, don't come for my eyelash.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.